Today, we're going to compare the cameras on the iPhone 14 Pro versus the Nothing 2 again because there is an update for the camera on the Nothing 2 phone, so let's do another comparison. With the first round of comparing these two phones, I feel like the Nothing 2 phone offers a lot for the price. Now, having a firmware update that improves the cameras super early already shows a good sign about this company. One thing that they listed was the optimized HDR, which I feel like they did, and I've seen some of the HDR pictures or where the highlights are not blown out as much as the iPhone. So there are some cases where you will notice that HDR will perform or looks better on the Nothing 2 phone than iPhone. Another improvement that they listed was they optimize or make it more clearer every time you zoom in after 4x. So I did all the way up to 10x and I did notice that it is much more clearer than before. So that is a huge bonus. It's just really hard to beat a phone that has a dedicated telephoto lens. So obviously, no matter how much you zoom, the phone with the dedicated telephoto lens is going to come out much more clear. Another new addition they added was the new watermark. So I'm going to move these few pictures up a little bit so you can see on the bottom left. Before, it was just a white bar that mentions Nothing 2, but now it shows a lot more information like the aperture, ISO, and what focal length you used. And then they added motion capture in 50 megapixel mode, which I don't really use too often, so it doesn't really apply to me. Next is the improved camera quality when using third-party apps, which again, I don't really use too often. For the most part nowadays, I just take the picture from the camera app and then upload it from there, just because I want the best quality as possible and have more control, because there are times when I'm using Instagram, it just crashes. So whatever story I took during that moment, it's gone. But for the ones that uses a lot of social apps like Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok and stuff like that, this is going to be huge improvements for you guys. Just like the last video, I like the images coming out of the Nothing 2 phone, and of course the colors depending on what you favor the best. Because some people do like the flatter look on iPhone, some like it more saturated, a bit more contrastier on the Nothing 2 phone. Now, Nothing also added a 2x option on the portrait mode, and I feel like this one is the most noticeable one because you can actually physically change it to 2x, which you haven't or you can't before. So this one is a really great addition because I feel like 1x feels like it's too wide. 2x is pretty good for a normal shot or a normal portrait looking shot, and even though the iPhone does have a 3x, it's really limited because you do need a lot of space. And in terms of the 2x in regular mode or even in portrait mode, I feel like it's clear enough or good enough where it's passable even though it's like a digital zoom. In some cases, the pictures or the portrait modes can be a bit darker in the shadows, but I do like the colors coming out of the Nothing 2 phone better just because it's more saturated and less on the greenish yellowish hue side on iPhone. And now moving on to video, they did mention that they optimized stabilization or the algorithm of it, which I can still see little micro jitters each time I take a step. So for the whole video side of things, I feel like they improved it the least versus the photo side. But if you're standing there and panning around, it looks pretty good. With the round 2 of comparing these two phones, I will say the Nothing 2 phone has improved with this firmware update, especially in the photo side of things. And I feel like with the price of the Nothing 2 phone, it was good before, and now with this update, it's even better. And I hope with the next update, they will improve on the video stabilization. So let me know your thoughts and what you think about this update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.